self-care. I haven't had a haircut. Just got out of the shower.
I wanted people to see what a month does to you after in the quarantine.
Hey everyone, Darren from hostelmanagement.com. As you can see, we have a very entertaining interview coming up here. I just wanted to take a moment. If you're enjoying these interviews by Hostel Road Trip Podcast, Jimmy Black and Bobby Dyer, just take a moment and give them your thanks by just clicking the like button on these videos. It means the world to them. If you want to take it a step further and be notified, we have a lot of different videos coming up in the next week, not just with Hostel Road Trip Podcast, but other hostel management videos. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so that you'll get alerted when there is a new video that we've posted. Anyway, I'll get to the video right now, but I wanted to give you that little teaser and ask for your support with just the like button. All right, thanks.
Welcome back to the Hostel Pandemic mini-series. Jimmy Black here with the Hostel Road Trip Podcast. Again, joined with me, Bobby Dyer from ITH Hostel, and Joe Gill in Asheville, North Carolina, owner of Bon, Paul, and Sharky's, first ever hostel in North Carolina, and owner of the only 3 hostels in North Carolina, or are there more?
There's one other one in Asheville.
One other one in Asheville. We will not be recording with them. No. No, but so thank you so much for joining us. I wanted the people to see what it's like for someone 30 days into the quarantine, what you look like, how you're feeling.
I forgot this was today, and so I was just doing a little self-care here for myself when you happened to call. But I was just, I was thinking that we did this a month ago. It was a phone call. I was looking good then. Here we are 30 days later.
It's true. I wish I had videoed us a month ago as well during the initial phone call, because I was in a gym regimen. I was getting my beach season on. My chops were dyed. I was looking good. But now I'm 20 pounds overweight and I look like a has-been biker. So this is it. But Bob Dyer is still fucking sexy as ever. So at least we still got that beautiful face.
Day in and day out.
Okay, so Joe, we want to touch on a few different things with you, but for the listeners, as far as what they're going to get out of this amazing little interview with you, you have a unique knowledge of leasing as compared to owning properties, as you are a tenant of some and a landowner of one, I think. And you also have a lot of perspective and experience in the industry. I'm so happy that that was not a wig. And I was waiting for us to find out that it was all fake.
Oh, God. I should have wore a wig. That would have been funny.
Yeah.
I do actually wear this robe around the house, though, on a regular basis.
See, Bobby's got such nice hair. A lot of people accuse me of having a bandana that has extensions attached to it. And people have grabbed at this bandana to try to rip it off. And you come at me. It can get tricky. But pandemic talk. Get back to serious stuff. You're in New Hampshire. North Carolina, we were just doing some with New Hampshire. You're in North Carolina. You got your 3 locations. Are all of them shut down right now?
2 of them are shut down. Bryson City and Asheville, by county ordinance, are both still shut. Wilmington on the coast is still open, but nobody's coming.
Yeah, open to the extent that it's open and empty. We have a similar situation within our kind of spaces. If they're open, they're still empty, and some of them are in forced closure. Now, in your experience, you've been doing this 15 years now, right?
15 years.
Anything close to that matches this?
Oh, man. No. We've gone through hurricanes that have shut us down. But even then, we had first responders that were coming in and chainsaw crews that would come in and stay. And it was, it lasted a week, sort of thing, where we had a dip. and we might have had to cancel every single reservation we had for a few days until we got on the other side of that and were able to clean up the hostel and start over again. But something that's gone on this long, you know, I don't think we've had guests for 30 days now, maybe more.
Yeah. I mean, it's just
all the time. So when all of a sudden there's nobody at the hostel, right? It's like definitely.
Yes. You know, and then it's right. I mean, you've been in a social orgasm for over a decade, and all of a sudden it stops, and there's no one in the house anymore.
I was looking at our booking system from last year at this time, almost cried. It was just that sad and devastating to look at how many people we don't have and how many, you know, new friends that we're not making.
That's true.
Nobody's here.
Now, with that being the case and the situation that we know we're all in having your experience, what are some of your thoughts as far as the recovery timeline? What do you think? No one has the right answer. I know no one knows for sure.
Nobody has the right answer. But based off of historical stuff, we could look at 9/11 and the airline industry, and that took, I think, 2.5 years is what they said for it to go back to the numbers of pre 9/11.
Wow.
And that's a long recovery.
That's
2.5 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that can be challenging, especially for an industry that's not exactly known to have a bunch of cash stuffed away under the mattress.
It's tough when what we sell is community, and to be able to have everybody come together the way that we're used to. It's been tough, but you know, I've been thinking, and you know, we've all been talking to other hostels and kind of game planning about maybe what things are going to look like. So I think we all have some ideas on how to instill confidence in travelers and make them feel safe.
And that is the challenge for the industry, as like our part of our branding is social immersion, right? And now the whole concept is social distancing. So it's really a PR disaster in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
We couldn't have been in a more disadvantaged position to handle this backlash of after the pandemic of the psychological element. But in a prior phone call with you, you had mentioned a term that really stood out with me. You said hostel in a box, because as we've seen this play out now since we talked a month ago, exactly what you were talking about happened. A lot of hostels have had to shut down. The ones that had either just opened and didn't have enough behind them to get approved for loans or whatever, or the ones that were stretched too thin and were exposed by the situation, maybe in a maneuver of some sorts. So in San Diego alone, we've seen about half the hostels shut, and not temporarily shut, like shut, I'm seeing you later, I'm out.
Wow.
So when you have that scenario, though, you mentioned the hostel in a box idea, that you actually do have all of these bunks, beds, supplies, experience, materials. So technically you could put it in a storage unit, be ready to rock.
Yeah, and that might be what we have to do. We own the property in Asheville, and then in Wilmington and Bryson City, both of those are rented. And right now, definitely for one of those rentals, it looks like we might be like mid-May, and we're packing it up and putting it in a box, because it's not going to make sense to completely drain everything that we have trying to keep it afloat until our lease ends. Or going into debt, or borrowing money and going into debt on that. It's just throw your hands up, put it all in a storage unit for a few $100 a month. When things turn around, find a new place. We've got the mattresses, we've got the bunks, we've got the laundry facilities, we've got all the kitchen equipment. Open back up. We even got artwork for the walls. All that stuff. Just put it in storage.
That's really encouraging, and also if it gets to that point. The reality is that there's probably going to be a lot of premier prime real estate locations available for lease after this pandemic, because a lot of people are going to go out of business. So you could, with a hostel in a box, and an opportunity to get a better location, maybe even a better. So I think that was a really cool silver lining you pointed out in our conversation last about that.
I'm hopeful for that one. They're talking. What was it? I was writing notes down today. What was in the paper? June 1st in North Carolina, bars and restaurants are get to open up with limited capacity, and probably around the 1st of July, they're going to try to increase capacity. So maybe another month, maybe 2 more months. But I mean, you know, I don't think any of us expect to be full at the end of the summertime. I think people are still going to
soon.
be nervous about coming out.
Where do most of your travelers come from to visit North Carolina region?
Oh, we have about 30% international, and so then 70% domestic, and that'll span the whole gamut. We got a lot out of Florida, a lot of Georgia, plenty from North Carolina, and a bunch up from the Northeast as well. Ohio, they travel.
Nice.
Down this area quite a bit. Those probably the meat of it, but we always get people going cross country.
No, it's a good point. And I think a big drive will be here is we were just talking to the dorms.com guy, and he was looking at it from an analytical OTA perspective, which was really cool to hear. Check out that episode, Joe Gill.
Oh, I will.
But it was really interesting from him to talk about how the European theater and the Asian, like that could open up, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be allowed to or coming over here yet to America.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to have to get very creative at stimulating the American backpacker who also can't go out of the country but wants to travel. So it's a good opportunity, I think, to go after Gen Z and millennials to say, come try out hostels. You know, you're under 45. You're not going to die. Jump on board here. You know, get on that JetBlue real cheap flight.
And along that same line, I had 2 hostel staff who both took off on vacation because there was no work. One went to California, the other went to Maryland. And, you know, I thought, like, well, what are you doing? Where are you traveling? But they're in that demographic of 18 to 26. They're just feel sort of bulletproof. And I understand, and I may have mentioned this to you last time that we talked. When I was 23, I took a job teaching English in China, and I landed the day that they lifted the restriction on SARS, just by chance. I was going anyway. And I was like, it kills babies and old people. Who cares? I'll be fine. Like, didn't think anything of it. And people were telling me, like, you're crazy. And I was like, nah, I'm not crazy. I'm fine. I'm young, I'm healthy.
23-year-old Joe Gill.
So we could hope in that our young demographic are going to come out and still want to travel. That's not everyone that we serve, and so that's still not going to put us at our occupancy where we were before. It should keep us afloat. And one of the things that I kind of thought about, and we can talk more about this at a later date or offline, is sort of a, how do I want to put it, a group advertising effort. Instead of us all advertising independently on our own social media channels, what if we came up with a unified, concise advertising campaign about U.S. hostels?
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and then we pinpoint who we want to market to, and it's that demographic that still feels confident enough to travel. Studying business again, Dave Thompson, the owner or the founder of Wendy's, said that he never made any money until he had 100 franchises. And the reason being was that collective marketing power.
Yeah.
And we got 100 hostels. We would just all have to work together and scrape it together enough money to have some sort of national ad campaign.
That's an awesome topic, and I'm throwing away all the notes from this interview so we can just keep on riding this topic here. That is something that I think Byron Boone did with like the American Hostel Association and other individuals that have tried to get like a North American. That's, for me, whenever I had someone coming at me, will you join this thing? I'm like, I'll join whatever one anyone comes up with. I don't care who starts it, who runs it, whatever. But that's why I want in, is because I want the collective power to be able to say we can buy in bulk together and get cheaper prices on products. We can market together and have much more, like, what if there's an actual commercial on the TV for U.S. hostels after the pandemic? Whoa! And that's what happened when 100 hostels put in $1,000.
Yep.
And you have $100,000. That's a campaign all of a sudden. And you're in a unique situation where some hostels did get a parachute from SBA and did get loans that in our industry are significant. And other hostels got nothing. And that's an algorithm that's a tricky thing to see where you fit on. What was your personal experience with the SBA?
Oh man, I applied through one of those government websites early on. It was clunky. The design was terrible. The program was slow because everybody I think was applying.
Yeah.
I don't know. I submitted for all the SBA stuff, the EINL, whatever that acronym was alone. Hadn't heard back from any of that. Tried to do the PPP. I banked with Wells Fargo. They weren't set up. They didn't get it set up until Sunday, which
money was out.
Didn't register with me because I was like, oh, well, Friday's come and gone. Saturday's come and gone. They're not going to work and open it on Sunday. Sure enough. Or Saturday or whatever it was. Yeah. So I missed out on the round one. I called some community bank. They never called me back for the PPP. I have since applied for those things. I suppose that I'm in some queue.
Yeah.
But we'll wait and see. And really, like, that PPP is not going to be that much. If I could get the SBA loan and have that forgiven, then we got some money to play with.
Exactly.
Then I don't have to put a hostel in storage and open it back up in a year. I could float it.
But I think that you make a very good point with this, though, and I think they're connected, that there are hostels out there that have been and will get approved for that SBA loan that can be forgiven. And if you look at the term, it's even possible that a bunch of people could collectively contribute to a marketing campaign that would be forgiven in cost of grant money. So I think that's something that we should definitely continue to speak about after the episode and connect with others on to see. So I can think of easily 10 people off the top of my head that would be very much on board for that idea. And now even if you've got 10 people throwing in $2,000, that's $20,000 marketing campaign. It's not nothing, I'm not saying.
Yeah.
But that's a very good point, a good idea. Now, what do you see in kind of some closing thoughts and inspirations from Joe Gill? We've talked about the timeline of the industry, but I'm curious in your thoughts of the style of hostel. We were at the hostel conference in Charleston this past winter, and we were kind of talking about how yourself, Bobby, and I are kind of a dying breed of like the operators that would open up smaller boutique hostels and maybe pop off a few of them and be able to exist at that size. Whereas now you have these very big players coming in with venture capital money and investment money. We did an interview with one person that thought they thought that we were going to see another wave of venture capital, big money come in after the pandemic to kind of clear it out. And it's a very dangerous and vulnerable time for the small operators. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that we're more impervious to survive or that we're fragile right now?
Man, I'll start off by saying if there's any venture capitalist out there that would like to buy 3 small hostels, I'll give you a good price. I'll go live on the beach. Well, that's a good question. And I don't know. I like to think that smaller hostels may have a little bit more flexibility, hopefully might have a little less debt than having purchased a 150-room old hotel that they had sunk so much money in to convert into a hostel. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Long term though, 5-10 years. Yeah, gosh, are the smaller hostels going to get run out or bought up? They might. I could see. Well, I want to walk that statement back a little bit because we sell community, because we sell social interaction.
Yeah,
hard to do that on a corporate level. Or you get some,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to do that on a corporate level. It's hard to do that in a 150-person hostel. But it's also, to put up the money for a 150-person hostel and with social distancing, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. Bob, what were you thinking?
Oh, I was just saying as a fellow, owner operator of these smaller hostels, we grew at one point one of our locations to 125 beds, and then we lost so much intimacy with the guests. And the whole reason why we have the hostel is to host the guests and show them a great time and whatnot. So we've contracted and brought it back down to around 35 guests. So
wow. Yeah.
But anyway, going back to having that intimacy that I think is going to be unique and valuable for
scalable.
these other larger brands and larger companies.
I agree. I think that there's vulnerabilities in that plan that in their own based on that. And we've experienced it personally. We at one of our locations, our first location, started as an 18-bed hostel in a small Victorian house, ended up sprawling across 7 different little Victorian, but 130 beds, wildly no longer intimate. Like it's very spread out, just a hot mess. And we saw that the ratings suffered. We saw the profit margin suffer. And
interesting.
So interesting as we scaled that back. It's a really cool case study. We got rid of a lot of the properties, brought the occupancy back down, ratings went back up, margins went back up, sanity returned. All what are we doing? Like, why would we push ourselves so much when we make better money in this model that's intimate? And I've seen the hostels like the one in Santa Barbara, Wayfarer, beautiful. Took a motel, dumped in millions of dollars. This place is a posh-tel. It's a posh hostel. It's pool outside, empty and dry, stagnant. That would be very stale, impersonal. When you go in there, you feel like you're in a New York City apartment. It's a very they overdid it, so they don't have that intimacy. And they called us up there to like come hang out and be like, what's wrong? What's not going on? I was like, this place is super nice, but like I can't really feel like I can let my hair down. And it is, So I mean, that is an element to it that I agree with.
Yeah. I've always been a fan of the smaller hostels for just that reason, the intimacy and getting to be able to hang out and know people and know the staff, and they can be your host and your friend and dinner nights and stuff like that. I think that there is a place for the larger hostels, and but I don't know. We'll see how it plays out here in the next 5 years.
We will see. And I know that Joe Gill, Jimmy Black, Bob Dyer will be along for that ride for the 5 years. Looking as good as ever. Now,
yes.
Joe, I thank you so much for joining us again for the second time and doing the video, because now people can see not only your beautiful face, but your style, the robe, the makeup. It's a beautiful thing. Your wife, she scored a catch. Let's just be honest with it. Tell her I said that.
I will let her know.
All right. Well, you take care out there in North Carolina. Bobby's brother moved to Asheville, so we're going to come visit you soon. He's having a kid.
All right.
We'll
please do.
This summer.
I can't wait to see you guys.
We'll rock out and have a good time. Until then, be safe.
Great. Thanks, guys. Stay safe.
Have a good one.